Welcome to our today's data automation debate together with Mike Ferguson, CEO of Intelligent Business Strategies, an independent IT analyst, consulting and research and education company specializing in data management and analytics. Mike is also the chairman of the Big Data London and a highly valued speaker at many data and AI conferences. So my name is Gregor. I'm the CEO of BI Genius and the host of today's TED's episode. So welcome, Mike. Happy to have you in our today's TED. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Gregor. Really good to be here. Looking forward to today's discussion.
Perfect. So let's start with our topic for today. So let me introduce the topic a little bit. For many years, I think we are very experienced in that era of data warehousing, the consolidation of analytical data in a central data warehouse, so-called enterprise data warehouse, was the pattern to achieve a single point of truth, because the data silos at that time did not deliver satisfactory results. And currently, the opposite approach is being pursued, for instance, with data mesh. So, Mike, the first question for you is the enterprise data warehouse finally dead with that propagation of data mesh?
Absolutely not. Not in my opinion, at least. I think really data mesh is what I would describe as upstream from a data warehouse, in that you can build data products which can then be used to construct a data warehouse. So I don't see data mesh replacing a data warehouse. I see it accelerating the development of data warehouse. So for me, no, it's not going to replace it. It's just going to hopefully accelerate the development of data warehouses and other analytical systems, and as well as machine learning models and things like that.
Okay. But you agree that it's a completely different approach than in the past with that enterprise or centralized data warehouse?
Absolutely. In the past, we relied on IT to kind of build everything and build all of the ETL to design the data model for your data warehouse, to build all of the ETL pipelines. And now that's not the case. We are trying to decentralize the data engineering effort with data mesh in order to get more people involved in engineering data. And we need that because there's so much more data. When we first started building data warehouses, we had, let's say, your mainstream transaction processing systems as a data source. Today we have hundreds, sometimes even thousands of data sources coming into the enterprise. And so, centralized IT would be completely overwhelmed if they didn't get other people in the enterprise helping out with this data engineering challenge, now that we have so much more data to look at.
Yeah, that's a perfect keyword for me to ask the next question in terms of coming from that centralized approach to a completely decentralized approach. What are the reasons to go from that approach to the complete opposite of that? What's the pattern from the past?
Oh, well, I think for sure the main reason is IT being overwhelmed. They become of course, we have some great highly skilled people in IT. The problem is that with so much more data entering the enterprise, we are seeing an increase in the number of data sources, but also an increase in the number of users wanting to analyze that data across the organization. And so more and more demand for, can you get me this data? Can you make these changes? And so the whole thing is just getting to a point where IT has is being outpaced by new users and more data, and so we really need to fix that problem. There's a bottleneck to clear that backlog, and of course the other problem is centralized analytical systems have emerged beyond warehouse. We have data lake, we have graph databases, we have people working on master data management, we have people working on streaming analytics, and they've all become silos. And I think another reason for doing this is we are constantly repeating the cleaning and integration of the same data for multiple analytical use cases, when really we should be able to build it once and reuse it everywhere. And for that reason, I think we need to stop reinventing and start reusing. And that's another reason why we are going for a decentralized approach.
Okay, so when I'm starting many years ago with that enterprise data warehouse approach, it was a kind of a culture of thinking central. So it's more a switch in the culture, and that leads me to that next question. Is a decentralized approach worth for every company?
This is a great question. I'm not so sure the decentralized approach is the right idea at all. I think the right idea is a federated approach, because if you just decentralize and have everybody working on different things around the enterprise, you can lose sight of what's going on around the enterprise, and things just start to become multiple disparate projects. We need some kind of program office, some kind of CDO office that's going to coordinate all of these projects, even if we are now decentralizing data engineering around the organization. I think for any company that is experiencing a bottleneck in data engineering and experiencing, let's say, higher costs on data engineering than they should do, by reinventing instead of reusing, then I think, yeah, it's definitely worth them looking at this. And the intention is really not to destroy the expertise within IT. It's to upskill other people in the organization to get more people doing this, because a company needs to get at more data, bring it together, and add it to what it already knows. And we need more people involved in doing that. So I think IT has a very important future here. And the future is to enable and help upskill these people around the organization, and also help them adopt best practices, whilst, let's say, while trying to hide complexity, and help them do this job more rapidly.
Okay, see. So you have mentioned that it's more federated approach, and so normally when a company starts many years ago, they follow that enterprise data warehouse approach. So what should I do if I have an enterprise data warehouse in place? Should I panic, throw it away, move to data mesh? What do you suggest on that?
No, I don't think you need to panic, but I do think you need to look at how you construct your ETL jobs for data warehouses. And rather than building ETL jobs to kind of populate large parts of a data model, I think we could break it apart and say, okay, what are the main data entities within our data warehouse? What are the main dimensions, the main transaction tables for fact tables? and start to build pipelines that are associated with an individual dimension. For example, customer dimension or products dimension, or you could have the orders fact table. So if I'm able to construct pipelines that just build customers or just build the orders or just build the products, and then I can assemble these quickly to construct data warehouses or data marts to be able to analyze in the organization. So I think perhaps revisit a data concept model, look to see which dimensions and facts are used within our data warehouse, and then say, can we redesign some of these ETL jobs to be, let's say, more modular and less monolithic, and then make it much easier to construct, let's say, the building blocks for data warehouse, and that's what I would be focusing on, is how do you redesign and modularize the development of your existing data warehouse rather than throw it away.
Okay, that sounds a little bit along modernization in that direction of domains, data domains, or so-called data products. So I think the term will appear when we discuss data mesh a little bit more in detail.
Absolutely.
But I think your suggestion in that area is very helpful for most of the users in that area, which still have some enterprise data warehouse solutions in place to think about to improve the effectivity of their systems in thinking about that domains, what they can manage, and yeah, that's a good introduction into that. So thank you very much for that.
Okay.
Do you have additional hints and tips for us in this case? What should I do if I still have that enterprise data warehouse approach?
Yeah, well, I have obviously got a class on best practices for implementing data mesh, which is very much considering how you can do this with, even if you have existing data warehouses that you have to support. So that's one option, but there's also a lot of other good sources of information out there about the move to a decentralized data engineering approach, and can provide some links.
Yeah, that would be
to
perfect.
those.
Yeah, so please send us the links and we will put it at the end of that episode. So Mike, for today, thank you very much for that very interesting topic in terms of that new hype around data mesh. I think we will follow up with that topic a little bit more in the future. Thank you very much. Have a nice day and see you the next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Gregor.